So this is a little bit of a problem. If you can see behind me, you're looking at our winter hay feedlot. Problem is, normally this is frozen this time of year. It's January 8th. And it's not. It's been about 60 degrees here all week, and we got a bunch of rain, and this is a mud hole. So I'm driving up to New York State today to hopefully pick up a round bale unroller. So normally I feed out hay into our feeder. The animals have a concrete pad where they can get out of the mud. We keep that clean. And they have a place where they can get dry and lay down. Well, the problem is it's been so warm this year that the ground has never really froze, so it's turned into a muddy mess out there in the fields where they lounge and just kind of hang out when they're not eating. So I'm trying to figure out how do we get them off of that and get them into a spot that's dry. The wetness and the mud really add a lot of stress to the cow and really create a more unhealthy environment for them. So what we're looking at is getting a bale unroller so that we can unroll our round bales out on the field. Well, I guess they're waiting for us. Well, short and sweet. I think that'll do the job. Get it back home, see how it works. There's actually a good amount of benefit to unrolling hay, and it's a reason I kind of want to move that direction in the future. When you unroll the hay out on the ground, basically it allows more animals to eat on it at once, and you get better utilization of it. The argument is that you end up wasting some because they trample some and there's just some left that they don't eat. Well, that's true, but we need to kind of change our perspective on what wasting looks like. And the reality is that any hay that we put back into the ground and into the soil really isn't wasted, because we're putting a lot of seed back into the ground that will benefit and germinate in the spring. And we're also putting a lot of carbon that the cows don't eat, a lot of carbon material back into the soil, and that will feed the microorganisms and improve the soil health in the spring. So yeah, you might be losing a little bit of feed value, but you're really getting it back as fertilizer value in the springtime. So there's a lot of good reasons to do it, and I'm kind of encouraged to move this direction. This isn't exactly my ideal situation, but we'll see what we can do, see how it works. Pin for this so I can stand it up and then hook it up to the tractor. Well, I guess that'll work in a pinch. with this thing for a minute. I hooked up the hydraulics to try them out, make sure they're working, and they're kind of working, but it only keeps getting stuck. And I finally realized I switched up a couple of the hydraulic cables, so brain fart moment of the day. That's more like it. See what she does. So the beauty of this system with unrolling it rather than just dumping the bale out in the field and letting them eat around it, as you can see, we've spread this out all over where all the cows can get at it at once and they're not over impacting one area. So a lot of times if you just feed the bale out, you'll have a ring of mud around where you left that bale where all the animals were crowded in there eating. So here we get much better utilization. Cows are all spread out, they all got plenty to eat. All right, well, we got that all unrolled. You can see the animals out there behind me enjoying their feed for the weekend. That should take them through Sunday. But a lot of people ask, like, aren't you wasting a lot? Aren't they going to trample a lot? And they do tend to lay in it. They like to snuggle into that bedding, kind of a bed and breakfast kind of thing, I guess. But the way you have to think about this is it's not a waste if that grass goes back into the ground. So what the cows don't eat is going to go back into the ground to feed the soil, feed the bacteria in the soil in the springtime, and just add carbon back into the system. So that's fertility that we're going to get back in the springtime. So you can't think of it as a waste. What is a waste is if we trample too much of our pastures out here, if it's a muddy mess, and then the cows really ruin the soil from turning it just into a mud hole. So we're trying it. This is the first year I've done it this way. We fed in the those calves having a good time there back there. Anyway, we fed it out in the barnyard in years past, and so we're trying this to try and preserve a little bit of our winter area because it's been so wet this year. So we'll just see how it works. I'm happy with it so far. You're definitely happier with how the animals are eating it, and they really do clean it up pretty good. There's really not that much left once we're done, and then we're ready to roll out the next one.